Hi, I'm Pat.
And hi, I'm Jesse.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're diving into something really important. It's personal, but also, universal.
We're looking at trauma,
Yeah,
how our, amazing brains respond to it.
exactly. And maybe the most hopeful part, our potential to heal, to actually grow from it. We've got this stack of insights here, articles, research, and we're ready to unpack some maybe surprising facts, hopefully spark a few aha moments for you listening.
Yeah, and our mission, as always, is to kind of pull out the key nuggets of knowledge.
Right.
Make this complex topic feel, understandable, not overwhelming. We want it to feel like a real conversation,
Yeah, taking our time.
just paced right for you.
Okay, so let's start with the basics. Our brains. They're incredible, constantly working,
Huh?
balancing our physical needs, our psychological stuff, reacting to everything around us. It's this delicate dance, nonstop.
It really is. And right at the core, there's this built-in alarm
A
system.
threat system.
Yeah, exactly. Our brain's survival mechanism. Ancient, primal, designed to keep us safe.
So how does that actually work when it perceives a threat?
Well, when the brain flags something as the potential threat, it triggers this cascade, a whole chain reaction of neurophysiological activity.
Like chemicals and signals.
Precisely. Brain chemicals, electrical signals. It literally reorganizes our resources, our attention. Everything gets focused on safety.
Okay, so if there's real danger, like a bus coming at you.
It's incredibly useful, essential even. It makes you react instantly, survive.
Absolutely, a lifesaver. But what happens when that alarm goes off, but there's no bus? When it's something internal in our heads?
Yeah, that's where it gets really complex, doesn't it?
It seems like it. Why does it feel so overwhelming then?
Because when the system kicks in, but the danger isn't really appropriate for the situation, that's when it swamps us.
Right.
We get flooded.
Yeah.
Fear, anger, anxiety,
Hmm.
intense feelings. And sometimes that pushes us into like self-criticism or patterns that just make things worse.
Mm.
And the crucial thing here, the really key distinction, is where the threat information comes from.
Okay.
It's our mind versus our five senses. Two totally different sources feeding into this one system.
And the mind's role. It sounds huge.
It's astounding, really. The mind can trigger that whole threat response,
Yeah.
even with zero actual physical danger present.
Like just thoughts.
Lots, yeah.
Hmm.
Images, memories, worrying about the future, judgments, daydreaming, even just our self-talk.
The stories we tell ourselves.
Exactly.
Ah.
Like, I'm not good enough. It's a mental event. It's a representation. Not tangible reality. It's just
Yeah.
a construction.
Okay, like imagining biting a lemon and you start salivating.
Perfect example. Or thinking about something that made you mad years ago,
Uh-huh.
and your heart starts pounding now. Your threat system feels like it's happening again.
Wow. Okay, so that's the mind. What about the senses?
Well, information from our five senses, sight, sound, taste, touch, smell, that is real. The actual bus heading for you, sensory input. But we get into trouble when our brain kind of confuses the two.
Mixes them up.
Yeah, like you might feel a little stomach ache. That's a sensation, five senses.
Okay.
But then your mind leaps in. Oh no, maybe it's cancer.
Oh, wow.
And the brain, trying to be safe, doesn't always tell the difference between the thought and a real physical threat. It runs on this better safe than sorry principle.
So it overreacts to the thought.
It can. It can lead to hyperfixating on things, ramping up anxiety, even full-blown panic attacks, all triggered by a mental event, not something actually happening out there.
So if we boil it down, what the sources are saying is what usually triggers that threat feeling? Is it mostly our senses, what's physically happening, or is it our mind, how we're thinking about things, including how we interpret what our senses are telling us?
And the consensus seems to be, for that day-to-day psychological distress, it's often the mind pulling the trigger.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's a term for this, cognitive fusion.
Cognitive fusion.
Yeah. Let me give you a quick example. Try this.
Yeah.
Imagine you're on a beach, a beautiful, warm, tropical beach.
Okay.
Really picture it. Sun on your skin, waves, the smell of salt.
Yeah.
You're relaxed. Maybe in a hammock.
Nice.
Okay, now stop imagining. Did you feel anything? Even a tiny shift? A flicker of calm, maybe?
Yeah, actually, a little bit.
See, you just used your mind to trigger a subtle emotional shift, even knowing it wasn't real.
Ah.
Now, where this becomes a problem is if we're constantly imagining problems we can't solve, Our brain reacts like they're real. We feel real stress, real anxiety from something that isn't actually happening.
That's it. Yeah, that makes sense. So if our minds can do that, create these internal threats, what about when something truly overwhelming does happen, something real?
Right.
And then later something simple like a sound or a smell brings all that intensity back. That's a trigger, isn't it?
That's exactly it. Yeah. In psychology, a trigger is just a stimulus. Could be anything: sensory, sound, sight, smell.
It's a physical feeling.
Yeah. Or even a time of day. Something that causes those painful memories or symptoms from a past trauma to just resurface.
Like the fireworks example for combat veterans.
Classic example. The loud bangs. They can instantly transport someone back, mentally, even though they're physically safe right now.
It's incredible how those links get forged in the brain. How does it actually happen? How does the brain create them?
It's quite fascinating. During the traumatic event, the brain is basically taking a snapshot. It stores all the surrounding sensory stuff, along with the intense emotion of the event. It bundles it all together in memory.
So later, if you encounter one of those sensory bits again,
The brain reactivates the whole package. The feelings come flooding back, sometimes before you even consciously realize why.
wow.
So when someone says they're triggered, it often means their reaction feels disproportionate to what's happening now.
Because they're mentally reliving the original trauma.
Exactly. Their brain is shouting danger, based on the past, not the present.
And the sources list so many potential triggers. It's not just obvious things. Holidays, anniversaries,
Specific sounds, sights, smells, tastes.
loud voices, or yelling, arguments, feeling rejected, even getting sick.
Yeah, even physical illness can trigger past emotional trauma for some people. It's incredibly varied and personal.
And you mentioned yelling specifically. The material highlights that.
It does, calls it a massive trigger for many. Often it's rooted deep in childhood.
Helplessness.
Threat.
Exactly. Experiences where yelling meant danger or feeling powerless, and, chronic yelling itself, it can cause real emotional trauma, abuse even. It lays down these sensitive pathways.
We see people sharing these experiences now, too. Like Seth Gill, you mentioned, survivor, veteran, sharing on places like TikTok. It shows how people are navigating this stuff, communicating it, and how responses like freezing, that's a trauma response, too, right? Often totally involuntary. Absolutely. It's the body reacting to perceived threat when fight or flight don't feel possible. And sharing these stories, it really helps validate people's feelings, builds understanding.
For sure. But there's also that debate you mentioned about trigger warnings.
Right. It's complex. They started to help survivors prepare for difficult content, and they're genuinely helpful for many. But some research, just some, suggests that for a few individuals, they might unintentionally reinforce the trauma as being, central to their identity, which might hinder healing in some cases.
So it's nuanced. No easy answer.
Not at all. Very individual.
Okay, this all sounds intense. Navigating triggers, understanding the threat system. But here's the really hopeful part, isn't it? The empowering news.
Is absolutely.
Our brains, they're never fixed.
Never. Which brings us to neuroplasticity.
Such a cool concept. The brain's ability to change, mold itself throughout life.
Exactly. Based on learning, on experience, it's incredible.
How does it do it? What's happening inside?
Mostly, it's about rewiring, making and strengthening connections between neurons, the brain cells.
Okay.
Process is called synaptogenesis and long-term potentiation. Fancy terms, but basically, the brain builds and strengthens pathways as we learn and repeat things.
Like Donald Hebb said, neurons that fire together wire together.
That's the phrase. Sums it up perfectly.
Yeah.
It's been around since the 40s, but it's so true.
And the real-world examples are just amazing, like London taxi drivers.
Their hippocampi, the memory and navigation part of the brain, actually get larger because of all the routes they memorize.
Or musicians, string players.
Their sensory brain areas for their left hand, the fingering hand, become larger from all that practice.
And people learning to juggle, their gray matter increases in motion processing areas.
Right. Shows those connections getting stronger. And then there's Einstein's brain.
Yes.
Studied after his death, showed a thicker corpus callosum.
The part connecting the two hemispheres.
Exactly. Suggesting maybe more connections, better communication between the left and right sides. It just proves our brains are constantly adapting.
So how does this amazing adaptability connect back to trauma?
This is the crucial hopeful link. Those changes trauma causes in the brain, in the prefrontal cortex, the amygdala, the hippocampus, affecting emotions, survival responses, memory.
Yeah.
They are not permanent.
Really?
Really.
Yeah.
Research clearly shows that things like therapy, mindfulness, other healing practices, They can lead to the growth of new neural pathways, rewiring,
Wow.
even simpler things like building healthy habits, eating well, regular sleep. That helps too. It takes, an average of 66 days for a new behavior to become automatic,
Right.
to start building those new pathways.
That's incredibly encouraging. So change is possible. And there's even new research, right?
Yeah.
About the amygdala.
Yeah, a recent study looked at how the amygdala forms these sort of indirect associations impacting decisions.
And disruptions there might be linked to PTSD.
Potentially, yes, which could offer new targets for future therapies. It's just another layer showing how changeable the brain is, even after really tough experiences.
Okay, so this leads us into the actual journey, healing, and post-traumatic growth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Gabor Mate has that really powerful quote.
Trauma is not what happens to.
It's what happens inside you as a result of what happened to you. He calls it a scarring. Makes you less flexible, more rigid, defended. It's the internal imprint.
Right. Not the event, the internal result.
And when we talk about how our bodies hold that imprint, the window of tolerance is such a useful idea.
Explain that a bit.
It's basically your optimal zone, where you feel calm, regulated, able to handle things. Trauma can really narrow that window.
So you get pushed out of it easily.
Yeah, into hyperarousal, anxious, agitated, jumpy,
Error.
or hypoarousal, withdrawn, frozen, numb, depressed.
And those link back to survival responses?
Fight, flight, freeze, but also flop, like collapsing or dissociating.
Wow.
And friend, which is like fawning or people-pleasing to try and stay safe.
Mate also suggests everyone can heal with consciousness. But it's complex, right? What do the sources say about that?
It is complex. His view is hopeful, and many experts agree healing is profoundly possible. But survivors themselves, they often debate what healing really means.
It's not about becoming normal or forgetting.
No, not usually. It's more about integrating the experience, learning to live well with it, finding a way to grow beyond it.
And the path to doing that, it's holistic. It involves the whole body.
Absolutely. The body keeps the score, right? So healing isn't just talk therapy, though that's important.
What else helps?
The sources mention things like EMDR, CBT, somatic therapies focusing on the body, mindfulness, art, music, nature. Even psychedelic-assisted therapy is showing promise in research.
So lots of options.
Lots. And the key is finding the right combination for you. It's very individual. It takes time.
Is there a typical path, though? Like stages?
Judith Herman's work outlines 4 stages that are widely recognized. First is safety and stabilization.
Learning to feel safe again. Managing emotions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Self-care. Getting grounded. Then comes processing trauma.
Telling the story. Morning.
Yeah, from your own perspective. Acknowledging the truth, the losses. Third is reconnection and integration.
Remaking the self. Finding purpose. Turning pain into power.
Beautifully put. And then there's a 4th stage, often added now, justice.
Addressing the wrongs. Formally or collectively.
Right. For many, that's a vital part of recovery. But you know what threads through all of these stages?
What's that?
Relationship.
Relationship.
Restoring a better relationship with yourself, yes, but also with your community. Connecting with others in safer, supportive relationships.
So support systems are crucial. Therapists, friends, family, other survivors.
It's hugely important. Connection heals.
And that leads to post-traumatic growth. It sounds almost counterintuitive, but it's real.
It is real. Research confirms it. It's not about saying the trauma was good. Not at all.
Right.
But it means that through the process of healing, people can find new perspectives, new meaning, develop new strengths, new priorities, even greater compassion.
Finding ways to thrive, not just survive.
Exactly that.
Wow. Okay. We've covered so much ground today. From that threat system, how our minds can trigger it, the nature of triggers themselves,
Right.
to the incredible hope of neuroplasticity and the journey of healing.
Yeah.
I think the main message, really, for you listening is just how powerful and adaptable your brain is.
Yeah.
Change and healing are possible even after really deep trauma.
It's a journey, definitely. But it's one filled with hope, potential for real growth.
And understanding is the first step, isn't it?
Absolutely. Understanding your own threat system, recognizing your triggers. That self-awareness gives you more choice.
Moving from just reacting to consciously choosing your response.
That's the goal. More choice, more well-being.
We really hope this deep dive offered you some new ways of thinking, maybe a few of those aha moments about your own incredible brain.
Its resilience is amazing.
Truly.
And hey, we're always learning too, just like our brains. So
Yeah.
please do come back for more deep dives with us.
Yeah, and if you found value today, maybe liked what you heard, please consider liking the episode, or maybe share it with someone who might benefit.
And leave a comment. We'd love to hear what resonated.
Your engagement really helps us get these conversations out to more curious minds.
It really does.
So thank you so much for joining us.
Goodbye for now.